RDCL is the Association of Lebanese Businessmen and Women. We have a common vision aiming to protect the private sector, but still want to have a balance in the national wealth distribution. We are a gatherer by definition, rassembleur in French, and we want to promote a global economy, and we want to inspire the public sector through advocacy, publications, debates, and conferences. We have been a credible institutional partner for all the economic instances in Lebanon, and our members are from diverse sectors, the Beirut Chamber of Commerce, the Lebanese Industrial Associations, and the National Security Fund, as well as the Beirut Stock Exchange, banker associations, insurance companies, hospitals, and others. And this is truly something very specific to RDCL and a strength for us. So this is our new vision, the values established by our board and by our president back in July, were the values of liberal economy, independence. We are benevolent, agile, innovative, we're engaged, we support, of course, we advocate for sovereignty, for a sovereign Lebanon, for a paritarian attitude and towards the gender equality. We are open to the world. We value integrity and responsibility. We have built in our strategy 8 pillars for RDCL. The first is to connect, bridge, and outreach among our members and with the outside world. We have a pillar about mediation, another about policy making, advocacy, innovation, job transformation, corporate governance, and exports. Jean, I leave the floor to you for the following to start your presentation.
Thank you, Roula. You'll just have to help me by changing the slides.
Okay.
If it's okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. And of course, thank you so much for the Rotary Club. And I can see a lot of lots of people, and I can see this great feeling between all of you. Everyone knows everyone, and it's really very nice, especially in those very difficult times we're going through. Really, it's really positive. We always, especially there is a lot of people asking me or telling me خلاص انتهى لبنان, بطل في لبنان, شو راح يصير فينا, what's going to happen with us, this is the end, etc. And I always remember this quote from the Little Prince: for every end, there is always a new beginning. So yes, there is something that is ending. Yes, this crisis is showing us that something ended. However, we have to know that there is something, something new that is going to begin. And each one of us in this panel and everyone in our daily life, we will be able to build this. Now, the whole idea is to really understand how we got here, and of course, then what is going to happen and where we can go. And there is there is an opportunity for us to build something new, sustainable, and healthy for the future. Roula?
Yes, just a moment.
Okay.
I think I have a problem.
So, first of all, what ended? What was the model, the economic model that we had in Lebanon? We all know the constitution, and we can see here on the left side of the screen what the constitution states, especially in the preamble. The last point, which is the point F. I don't know if you can see it from on your screen, but it says that the economic system is a free and ensures private initiative and the right of private investment, etc., etc. So what the Lebanese economy, or what the constitution states about the Lebanese economy, is that we are in a free and liberal economy. And this is what we can still hear a lot of people saying, yeah, but this is a free economy. In reality, and especially after the war, we never been in a real, I'm talking a real free economy in Lebanon. The reality is in Lebanon, it used to be a crony capitalism. an economic model that is based on power sharing, on business cronies, on privileges to the very happy few, the clientelism and nepotism. So everything was built for this few business elite and for the few politicians that were really helping each other and allowing each other to prosper and to sustain in this model, while the whole economy and the real people with real initiatives couldn't really make it unless you would go back to these this small part that was built. And this is, of course, the reason of a lot of things, mainly with the Taif agreement and this agreement between the political elite and the sectarian and political elites that are keeping as much as they can their mainmise on their sect. Roula? So this crony capital, this crony model, this crony capitalism model was very costly, because from one side, and especially to keep it running, they had to abuse all the economic policies, being from one side the monetary policy, or from the other side the fiscal policies. They abused both policies to be able to allow the system to continue. I'm just going to give very few examples. For instance, for the fiscal policies, having this huge public sector, because of all the employment in the public sector, allowing all those people to enter the public sector being in a legal or illegal way, but not really based on merits or the real need of the economy, but just, you know, to please their people and to allow their people to enter the public sector and to have like a salary, even if they don't have to to go to work or anything else. We were paying for this. On the monetary side, pegging the Lebanese lira all those years, as well was an abuse, and all those quasi-fiscal operations, such as all the subsidies that were giving, as well, those were abuses that was extremely costly for our economy, and led us to, sorry, Roula, the next slide, and led us to a vicious cycle. So basically, we had an increase of fiscal deficit because of all those black councils and funds that were here to please some political sect leaders, the tax evasion, this huge public sector that we had, etc., that led to a rise in public debt. And to be able to continue funding this and to be able to continue having an inflow of dollars from abroad, because in Lebanon, in this model, the only way to finance and to attract foreign currencies into Lebanon was only through the banking sector by raising interest rates. So we had to increase interest rates, which at the same time had was a major challenge for the private sector, because the loans, it was very costly to get loans, and even sometimes, anyway, we're not going to go into this, but it was extremely costly to get loans. So a lot of companies couldn't really access to finance. And at the same time, the huge motives for everyone was to say, okay, fine, if I can get high interest rate, why do I want to go and invest in XYZ to be able to get a decent return? I have a very decent return, and we all remember that, yeah, there is the banking sector will never collapse in Lebanon. This is not going to happen. So they kept increasing rates, and at the same time, the private sector was paying a very high price, which led to a rise in layoffs and bankruptcy and less employment, creating jobs, which led to less revenues or eventually increasing revenues to continue with funding this wasteful model, which in the same time had to increase the fiscal deficit, and then we went into this vicious cycle. Roula, the next slide. So the result was, we can see here that the fiscal deficit increased by 100% in 4 years, from 2014 to 2018. Of course, there are other considerations, mainly before the elections when they voted for the increase of the salary scale for the public sector. But still, we reached a fiscal deficit to GDP of above 11% in 2018, which is huge. The next slide, sorry. And as I was saying, in the same time, the private sector was paying a very high price. The export of the industrial exports in Lebanon decreased by almost 39%. 39% in 8 years. It's huge. We didn't, and even in 2012, it was not like a very important size of export, but still, we decreased during all those years. And because of a political class that didn't really wanted to do any reforms to fix this problem, we were going, and the red flags were here and were clear. And this, of course, losing the competitiveness of our private sector would lead to an increase in our current account and in our trade deficit, which we'll see in the next slide. So here we can see how the trade deficit was increasing. So the need of dollars for the economy was increasing year after year. It was increasing because we needed dollars to be able to fund this trade deficit that was growing year after year. We needed dollars to be able to peg. We needed dollars to be able to finance the deficit in the public sector. So the need of dollars was increasing year after year. And at a certain point, there was a limit where we can see on the next slide how we used all this reserve, because until 2011, actually, there was still dollars coming into the economy, more dollars coming into the economy than dollars getting out of the economy. This was until 2011. However, starting August 2011, the dollars getting out of the economy was higher than the dollars coming into the economy. Now, on this slide, we cannot really see it. However, there is another graph, unfortunately, I don't have it here, that shows clearly how the net was being more negative. So, but there is a certain point of time where, especially starting 2014, 2015, where the IMF was saying to the Lebanese government, you should start changing your system because you won't be able to sustain with this model because it's draining your dollars into the economy. The only source of dollars were the deposits coming into the economy, and no one was listening. And then we can see here what happened in 2019, where the big collapse happened. And this is why we can say, like, yes, the model collapsed even before the October Revolution, but the signs were the signs of this collapse was shown really starting 2012, let's say. Next slide.
Recording in progress.
I'm almost done. So yeah, so this is the result today. What are we going through for the last couple of years? In 2 years, we are on the verge of being declared a failed state. We are confronting a lot of crises, a banking crisis, a currency crisis, a debt crisis, a social and humanitarian crisis. We are all kinds of crises we are witnessing today. We can see here, of course, the devaluation, showing a 93% devaluation of the currency. We can see how much the GDP collapsed our GDP collapsed. We can see, of course, the debt to GDP. And especially on the next slide, we can see the social and humanitarian impact on us, where we can see how much poverty has increased. The next slide, Roula, please. Yes, so we can see how much the poverty increased in Lebanon. And the people that are above the extreme poverty line are above 25%, which is really catastrophic. And the people that are below the poverty line are today at more than 52% in 2021. And of course, we can see how much businesses had to close. We can see the brain drain that is happening in all the sectors, and especially the sectors where we used to be really the shining stars, like in the hospitality sector, in the medical sector, in the education, and this is really catastrophic. However, as I was telling you, this model collapsed. The crony capitalism model collapsed. But this doesn't mean that Lebanon collapsed or there will be no Lebanon. No, we have an amazing opportunity today to build something new on very new and strong basis. And this is exactly what Roula is going to talk about. I'm the bad cop, she's the good cop.
Madame Zahar.
Oui. Je pense que, okay, this is the last slide. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Jean, for this comprehensive report about the current economic situation. That's, I'm not sure I have to say thank you, because this is not exactly mood uplifting, I must say. This should hopefully lead us, however, to find some solutions and actions that we should undertake in order to get out of this mess. So I think this all starts by defining a new economic model, hopefully. And at RDCL, we believe that the key element that we need in order to rebuild is the trust, because actually now trust, we do not have any trust in our country. We do not have trust in the institutions, and we do not have trust in the private sector. And mainly, and I think this is the most central problem, we do not have trust in the currency. Why? Because in fact, the currency lacks the basic, our currency, the Lebanese pound, lacks the basic characteristics of money. We cannot use it as a mean of exchange. We cannot not use it in our transactions to record our transactions in our accounting books, because it's completely useless, and we cannot store any value in it. So these three definitions of money are the core to defining any money. And if we don't have them, obviously, then our pound, our Lebanese pound, is not money, because money, after all, is an abstraction. Just a record in a bank. It's not at all the banknotes that we deposit in a safe in a bank. Money is about the trust in the issuer. So this is why we believe that trust is very important to rebuild the economy. We should also agree on the other side. On the other hand, we should agree on the role of the government and the role it has to play for us to rebuild our economy. For us, the main role of the government is the regulator of the economy. It has to promote liberal economy and still have to play a moderating role by controlling monopolies and by promoting the liberal economy. We have to remove, in order to do this, the first thing to do is to remove the subsidies and the peg of the currency, because with the subsidies until now, we have been really in some kind of absurdity, because as we have subsidies, we had to fix the prices of important goods and services, and this has only led to shortages, because the prices that were set were below the cost of the people who were willing to supply the goods and services. So this is really basic economics. Subsidies, price fixing, peg are something that leads to disaster, and this, unfortunately, we have experienced in Lebanon. What we also need from the government is to provide the business and the legal environment for us to operate, for the businesses to operate. And we also we need our government to encourage the exports and the investment, mainly the FDIs, the foreign direct investments. Because we have lots of competitive advantages, especially as a private sector. We are a key player in for the comprehensive economic recovery. We have to build our national brand, the brand Lebanon, and this has been done a lot in the design world, in creation. We really have a brand that is the brand Lebanon that is recognized around the world, and it sells well. I can name, you know, better than I, you know, the big names in design in Lebanon, the Lebanese designers. At the same time, we have lots of competitive advantages. First, in our natural resources, we have water, we will probably have oil and gas. And we also have, we enjoy a beautiful geographic location. Our climate is diverse. We can do a lot in Lebanon, as we all know. We have an educated and motivated human capital. And this is really one of the resource that we can rely on most effectively. And we have an engaged and well-resourced diaspora that has proven numerously, especially over the last couple of years, that it was behind Lebanon for everything. So I think we can develop our agriculture, our industry, our financial services, and our knowledge economy, technology, IT services. We really have all the means to do so. So we really have to take benefit from all these competitive advantages in order to build our brand and to develop our economy. What did we do till now as RDCL in order to promote all these ideas and to try and to push forward for the political agenda and our advocacies? Well, we have advocated several policies aiming to encourage productivity and to promote employment. I will give you some examples. First of all, we believe that we should direct all financial aid into productive sectors, including the SDRs received by the Lebanese government. They should not be distributed to the unemployed. This is our opinion, and we have voiced it, because if they are if they are distributed to the unemployed, this will encourage unemployment and reduce productivity. We have participated in our advocacy. Our president and our treasurer have participated to the international conference on support of the Lebanese people on July 15. And we have also been advocating a lot for the implementation of the new public procurement law that will improve transparency, accountability, and the efficiency of the public sector. This law really is very important. It has been, I think, promoted by, it has been established by the Fleihan Institute at AUB, and it has been voted, and we have lots of great hopes regarding this law. Finally, we have objected to a tax increase proposed by the director of the Ministry of Finance. Usually, we highly encourage businesses to pay their taxes, but this tax increase that was meant to be on all the salaries paid in foreign currencies was really a disaster, because it will push the remaining talents out of the country. So we objected to this tax increase, and we have sent our objection to the finance ministry. Finally, we are working a lot on the governance of the businesses, and we are supporting our members in establishing a sound board structure and an accountability system, as well as an anti-bribery and anti-corruption laws. Finally, what we hope for is to move from a rentier economy to a productive economy. Currently we are only relying on the remittances from the diaspora, and we hope that we will be able to encourage the foreign direct investments, exports, tourism, and also the remittances from abroad. And we think the private sector has a great role to play, because it has proven a lot in the past that it has the ability to lead this economy. It has the ability to induce a virtuous cycle and to create value-added products and services. This is how we will secure employment, and this will definitely lift the disadvantage out of poverty and offer prosperity to society in a sustainable way. To conclude, I would say that Lebanon has the means and the fundamentals to thrive. We should only give it a chance to rebuild and prove it deserves the trust. Thank you. I will be waiting for your answers, for your questions. We're ready, Jean and I, to answer all the questions you might have.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Zahar and Mr. Tawile, for this excellent presentation. Really, when you see the situation in Lebanon, it is catastrophic. However, I like the ideas and what you are planning for Lebanon, and I'm sure with the new board that you have, you will do great things at your level. The floor is now open for the Q&A. I will start with my first question. So Mrs. Zahar or Mr. Tawile, you choose who will answer. What is the time frame for a full recovery, in your opinion?
Well, I think this is a very difficult question to answer. We hope that we have reached, the bottom line, and we are starting to rebuild. If we have reached the bottom line, I don't think this will be very long, but who knows? I mean, can you foresee the future? But we only have to work for it and do our best so that it comes quickly and it comes well.
Mr. Tawile?
Yeah, very briefly, exactly. It's really difficult to really be able to give a time frame, especially that what is needed to be done still didn't start it. This is what you have to keep in mind. So basically, Lebanon defaulted on its debt in March 2020. Until today, the negotiations between the Lebanese government and the debt holders still didn't happen. The need of the IMF is a no-brainer. We have to get the IMF on board. Still, we don't still have an agreement with the IMF. Any reform that is required today in the economy to allow the economy to at least to stop the collapse that is happening, we're not seeing anything. And even today in this catastrophic situation, we don't have a government. So we cannot really give a time frame unless we start doing something. Now, once, let's say, I'm not going to talk about those people that are today in power. I'm not going to talk about them. But if we have like people really responsible people that would like to work for the l'intérêt général, for the interest of everyone and not for the interest of the very happy few. The day we will be having this kind of people and working day and night to get us out of this mess, believe me, it's not going to be difficult to get out of it. Lebanon is a small country. We have a lot of resources. We have competitive advantages. We have everything we need. We have you guys. We have the Rotary and you as amazing people. I'm sure that we won't even need, like I saw 19 years, 15 years. We might not even need that much. We can get out of it. However, we need people to do anything. You cannot have a sinking boat and no one is in control.
True, because we have many different ideas and conflicting ideas regarding this issue. Some people think that Lebanon can recover within 3 to 5 years because it's a small country. The debt of the country is internal, not external, and it is easier to relaunch a country like Lebanon than a big country that is much bigger than Lebanon. But as you said, I think it's we need the two to tango. So I think we need to have a government, we need to have people, we have to the businessmen, we need the Lebanese diaspora, we need everybody in order to get out and to have a full recovery. Not only one side, but everybody. So I have a question that is very close, and in case trust is somewhat restored, do you believe that the time for recovery is almost 19 years, just like the latest World Bank report stated?
No, I think what will take most time is the trust, in fact. It's to rebuild. Once you have trust, you have everything. Everything will flow again. The most important problem that we have today is that we have no trust in the banks. So how would people deposit? How can business function? I mean, it's very complicated to work if you don't have a banking system in the country. How can you have a banking system without trust? And therefore, this is what's going to take time. I think this is exactly what we need. It is the trust. All else will flow. Everything else will be easier.
I don't know if I'm wrong, but I think we have everything. We have a banking system, we have laws, but they are not implemented. And this is where is the difference? We have everything, but people who are on the top are not implementing them. So do you agree on that?
Definitely, we have everything, and the point is that we still need the trust and the will of the people to operate. I mean, today, if what is going on will lead the people that is in power to start the reforms, and we have the plan is almost set. We know that we have to deal with the IMF and the program of the IMF. We know that we can have our resources. We have oil resources that we can exploit, oil and gas. We know there are, I mean, it's quite clear what we should do, but we should start. The problem, it is not starting. Nothing is being done for the time being.
Again, just to be more specific on when we are saying that you have everything, and Roula said it in the previous slide where she was talking about the competitive advantages that we have. We have the diaspora, and we're going to talk, of course, of the diaspora, but the diaspora will be the first people once not even before even getting to trust, and once there are very small positive signs of something that is changing, we can see how much diaspora will come and invest again in Lebanon. Today, we have to be able to change those remittances that are coming into Lebanon from the Lebanese diaspora, from remittances coming for consumption, because most of the people send the money, the dollars to Lebanon to help their families consume. But today, this is those dollars that are coming in to consume product that we import. So basically, the dollars comes in and goes out again. So the whole idea is to be able to transform those dollars that are coming in to be able to stay in the economy. Thus, I'm talking here about investment. We need to transform those dollars from the diaspora to investment in Lebanon, to be invested in Lebanon, to be invested in amazing initiatives. And we can see, despite this crisis, we can see in the last couple of years, very nice initiatives, local products that are being produced with a very high quality. And I'm just going to give just one example. I'm buying a Lebanese Tabasco, Nabati. It is just amazing. Tabasco is really overrated compared to this. And there is a lot of other, even Roula, they have a Nutella. أنا صراحة, I prefer the Nutella of Roula than the real Nutella. And I told her this last time. So we have now amazing initiatives, but you need, of course, to be able to bring and to attract investors, to be able to open markets, to be able to sold those products abroad as well and get the dollars coming in, to be able to have. So for all this, we have everything we need. However, what is missing today is the people that are in charge. Today, there are tools in economy. There are the monetary and the fiscal policies. Those are tools that need to be able to be managed today. I'm just going to give a small example. They are still saying that let's postpone a little bit the reforms on the fiscal side, because there are elections. We cannot now reduce the expenditures in the government, blah, 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 and we can hear all this. But what we don't understand is that the fact that we still have a fiscal deficit, and since Lebanon cannot have access to the debt market today, the only way to finance this fiscal deficit is through printing money. So Lebanon is constantly printing money. The central bank is constantly printing money to be able to cover its fiscal deficit and to be able to give back the money to the depositors, like the Circular 151. That we are printing a lot of money, but in the same time, there are no dollars coming in to be able to stabilize the monetary situation. So this is a situation where we remember the Republic of Weimar and other countries that went into crisis, where instead of doing the reforms and whatever it needs to be done to control the money supply, we are just kicking the can down the road. And we're kicking the can down the road by printing money until we're going to kick the country down the hole. So there is a certain point where we have to just to realize that, yes, you need to have, we need to have this people in charge using in a very effective way the monetary and the fiscal policies on the economic side Of course, there are other considerations in terms of governance, of accountability, of independent judiciary system, all this. But we need to have responsible people in charge, and this is key.
Thank you. Thank you for your explanation. We have some other questions. I would be grateful if you could be a little bit more brief in order to be able to answer them all. Okay, and I totally agree that we need to encourage to consume Lebanese products, to produce Lebanese products, and it is a responsibility that Lebanese should have. Very important. So my next question, is it fair and sustainable to always rely on the fact that we have competed Lebanese diaspora instead of encouraging people who have decided to stay here and try to make a somewhat difference?
Jean, you want to answer?
Yeah, no, eventually I think I almost answered this question. It's not like it's our country at the end of the day. Of course, the people that are in Lebanon, and most of you, and we are all in Lebanon, and we know how much we are going through hell every day by deciding to stay in Lebanon and to fight within Lebanon. Of course, those are the people that should be pushed. But in the same time, we cannot, and it is a real partnership. The diaspora, they will bring the funds, they will bring the experience, they will bring the money, they will bring the know-how. And in Lebanon, we will be bringing the opportunities. It is not, I don't really differentiate between the diaspora and the people that are still in Lebanon. We are all Lebanese. Lebanon is our country, all of us, and we have to work all together to get out of, to allow our country to reach where we want it to reach. So there is a lot of local initiatives today by people that are still in Lebanon and working from Lebanon, but those people, they need the diaspora to export their product. They need the diaspora to attract investors. And at the same time, the diaspora, at the end of the day, this is their country. Lebanon is their country. They want to stay in Lebanon. They want to have an impact in Lebanon. They have the experience, the know-how, the network maybe abroad, and they will help. So it is a real partnership between all of us as Lebanese for Lebanon.
In fact, actually, our only means of surviving is the diaspora. Apparently, this is what is keeping us on our feet. But this cannot go on and this forever. I mean, we have to find ways to get foreign exchange, foreign currencies in another way than by having the remittances of the diaspora. And this is what we have been advocating. Our only way out is the exports that we have. We really should work on this because this is our only way out of along with tourism, of course.
What about the strong and inevitable correlation between politics and economics?
Well, I think this is exactly what has been demonstrated throughout the crisis in Lebanon. That politics cannot continue, cannot drive a country without economics, and that without economics you cannot have neither power nor politics. This is a beautiful demonstration that it works in both ways. We had apparently a stable political power, and it couldn't survive without an sound economic policy and situation. And now it is the same again. We cannot also have as well any economic policy working without the proper authority and the proper government and the proper politics to implement it. It's really a very close relation.
I'm just going to add on what Roula is saying. Obviously, this is really true. At the end of the day, politics, la politique est au service de l'économie, and this is the biggest proof of it. At the end of the day, they have used and abused the current model. The political class have used and abused the current model. However, the model collapsed, and now it's up to us as responsible people to see where we want to go. And there are different systems. We do believe as RDCL that the private sector has the biggest role to play. The private sector has to be there to, the private sector will be creating jobs. The private sector will be creating growth. It is the role of the private sector. And the role of the politics and the economic policies is to ensure a proper, healthy, sustainable, competitive business environment to help the private sector to grow. This is what we are waiting from the politics. And this is what the politics is here eventually to help us to create this healthy environment to allow the Lebanese people to live in a good way. You cannot decorrelate them. However, you cannot use and abuse the economy for the interest of few politicians.
In fact, when you see everybody knows or has a great idea about what can be done, but nothing has been changed for the following reason. So, for example, Lebanon is unique in the world for the different military entities that control the country. So, the solution proposed, okay, are difficult to implement unless an internal settlement is done to let the private sector put the solution on implementation, which means if there is no political solution that is found, I don't think, or this is a question, or what can the private sector do?
Yeah, vas-y, Roula.
Well, this is what we've been doing. I think that no one can afford for the situation to remain as it is. Either we have reached the bottom or we will reach it very soon. And no one can afford for this situation to continue. I'm sure that there will be a time when everybody, when the people in power will have to find the proper solutions. And this is what we are preparing for as private sector and as RDCL. And we hope we will be ready for the time when we will put in place everything that you have prepared for.
Yeah, just to add on this, of course, the problem, and we can see it today, the problem is not only economic and social. The problem is we have a structural problem in Lebanon. Unfortunately, the first 100 years, and I'm sorry, I'm talking a little bit politics, but I'm going to be very brief. Unfortunately, the first 100 years of Lebanon, we didn't even have more than 30% where we had like peace and prosperity. All the rest of the time, it was always wars. And the only way was always to have a new agreement. We had the Cairo agreement, then we had the Taif agreement, then we had the Doha agreement. Unfortunately, today, Lebanon needs a new agreement between us, a new social contract between all of us. This is something that is above economics. There is a structural problem that needs to be solved. And as long as we don't solve the structural problem, we will still postpone the problem or find like really superficial solutions for just to get a bit of stability. However, the real problem is never being really taken into consideration. So yes, of course, there is this. However, meanwhile, what the private sector is doing is surviving. Yeah, and if the private sector is still here on its feet, surviving, still running the country, still trying to innovate, to try to find new solutions, to try to find new products, to see how they can adapt. And this is what they are doing. So, and allowing still people to get some salaries, still having people, this is the huge role that the private sector is doing today. We are surviving, we will still survive because it's our country. And if it's not a bunch of few hungry politicians, mafia, militias that will dictate whatever should happen. No, the resistance itself in staying in this country is something great that the private sector is doing, and we will continue doing it.
So at the end, I understand that we need first political stability, and after the political stability, it will create trust. I'm talking about internal and external trust. Right. So thank you very much, both of you, for this excellent presentation. I will ask now President Roni to present you this memento from the club.
Thank you very much for Roula and Jean for presenting tonight the Lebanon that we would like to see and how we can get to it. This is a small certificate of appreciation from our club to you for this nice hour chatting with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President. And just again, what I said in the beginning, the community that you are and that you represent, all of you, is just amazing. What we need today is having this community and all of us just to stay together, just to go through this catastrophic situation, just really because it's us at the end of the day. This community, we have to help each other, to support each other. If someone is in need, we have to be here to help him because, yes, the situation is very difficult, but we are amazing people, all of us, and we have seen this in all the crises, and we will get out of it.
I think we should also show, just a small sentence, we should show that we deserve our country. I think this is the time.
Starting from last year, under Hagop Tanzigyan, under President Hagop, we opened our hands to all the 28 Rotary clubs in Lebanon, and we worked together to salvage what we can do to help the Beirutis after the terrible explosion. So we're all working together as one Rotary group in Lebanon.
Thank you, President. Thank you to our speakers. Definitely, Rotary is a great family, all leaders, and we'll be very happy to collaborate with you in any project of common interest in the future. Before coming to the upcoming event, just somebody was asking me, Jean, what is the name of the Lebanese Tabasco? So I would be grateful if you could write it and send it to us, as well as the Lebanese Nutella.
I wrote it. It's Nabacha. I wrote it. I wrote it. And you can buy it on Zomato, Hydric Tutters.
Okay. Thank you very much. and for the Nutella as well. So
Nutella is Danway.
Danway. Perfect. Thank you. We have
really amazing. Nutella is.
We have to encourage Lebanese production and Lebanese commerce. So our upcoming events, so Mission Education with Mrs. Christiane Hajar, Ms. Ghada Ma'meri, and Mrs. Sarah Shalabi on November 3 at 7 p.m. at the Rotary Club Beirut Cedars. But I have kept for the end, I would like to wish a very, very, very special happy birthday to past President Rami Sarkis, who is his birthday today. Big kisses, Rami, and to past President Philippe Pescaf, who will be celebrating his birthday on the 31st of October. Et voilà, I wish you all a great evening. Thank you very much once again for Mrs. Zahar and Mr. Tawile for this excellent presentation. See you next week, same time. Good night.
Okay.